we are here with John Englehart. He is the founder and CEO of a company called FIDO, and FIDO is in the collaborative innovation space. But John, why don't I let you correct me on your title if you need to, and tell us what FIDO is all about.
Well, good morning, Peter. It's great to be here. FIDO stands for Fearless Innovation Designed Online. And we started a couple years ago. And what we're doing is we're solving a problem that companies have, which is how do they solve problems more reliably and more efficiently? And we help them to do that by harnessing the creative economy in a new way, tapping what Clay Shirky calls the cognitive surplus out there, and bringing people together in an invitation-only way to solve the really big problems and what we think are the interesting problems in the world today.
So I do know a bit about collaborative innovation from some recent experience. There's some companies that create a large panel of experts that volunteer, and sort of everyone can be in, and everyone throws ideas in a broad sort of off and on process, and then there's some that focus collaborative innovation inside a company, so that they're focused on the people who know where all the warts are and where the issues are, and so they're able to focus that way. But your model is different. Who are the people that you're bringing in to solve these sort of problems?
Well, the people that we're bringing in, FIDO is powered by an invitation-only community of experts who are highly accomplished, independent people from all walks of life, all over the world. We have members of the community in India and Australia and Japan and Eastern Europe. So the people who are extraordinary people who have done something extraordinary in a different field, and have demonstrated creativity, not just in their field, but also in how they think on things, how they solve problems. And as you say, Peter, the collaborative piece is really key, because what people have done a lot online is looked at using the internet to aggregate talent, using the internet to coordinate talent. And really what we're doing is we're doing something very different in using it. Ours is not a technology business, it's a technology-enhanced business. Right. And what we're doing is we're using it for the purpose of, as you say, collaborative innovation. And so the people who power FIDO and different applications of FIDO are all highly qualified. It's invitation only, and they come together in hand-picked groups which usually number no more than 9 individuals who are handpicked to the problem, and they co-create solutions. Right. And it's in the co-creation process, which is a patent-pending process, which happens entirely online. That's the really exciting bit, and it's a combination of synchronous and asynchronous co-creation. So it lets people get together and groove off each other, which is important to us as humans, but also what it does is it takes advantage of the power of percolation, and it enables people who are very busy and in some cases have very, very big jobs to think on things and to feed off each other. And so Peter can have an idea when he wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he happens to be working on a problem together with Diane. When Peter has that idea, Peter can share it with the group of 9 when he gets up at 5 a.m., and others can see that in a secure online environment over the course of the day and build on Peter's idea. So they're not offering just alternatives, but saying, well, that's really interesting. What if we made it blue? Or what if it was plaid? Or what if it was invisible, or whatever? But it's that kind of collaboration, which is what's really, really exciting.
Excellent. So FIDO stands for Fearless Innovation Done Online. Is that right?
It's Fearless Innovation Designed Online.
Designed online, and then you've taken this FIDO metaphor and you've used it in a couple of clever ways. Tell us what's a doghouse.
That's a generous way, Peter, of saying that we've beaten it to death, which we do. But yes, the members of the FIDO community are lovingly called dogs and like to be called dogs. And the dog house is our original and flagship application for FIDO. And what a dog house is it's a 5 week collaborative innovation initiative that happens again entirely online, and that is to help companies and organizations. So it's not just companies, but also we've done work with the United Nations and with others, where we help them get to the right root problem. What we found is that a lot of companies and organizations are stuck because really they're not asking the right question. So a doghouse begins with helping them to get to the right question. We've got a process to help them to do that, and then to articulate that in the way that best invites innovation. And then that then gets us to a point where we describe that as the audacious challenge.
Right.
And then we work with the sponsor to specify success criteria, which is a little bit like speccing a house. That's when you say that you want a bathroom over the garage and where you want a video room in the basement. Mm-hmm. And then based on that audacious challenge and the success criteria, we then cast the doghouse. Right. We cast 9 members of the doghouse and 1 certified FIDO facilitator. And we have a talent chemistry for bringing together the right 9 people, mm-hmm. where we harness what we call intelligent naivete. So we want people who have some sense of the subject matter, but also we want to bring in fresh perspective, people who are 1 or 2 steps removed from the problem, because there's a lot of evidence that shows that people who are 1 or 2 steps removed from a problem are often the most reliable at coming up with better solutions to the problem.
I'm sure that's true.
Like with 3M and the famous story of the glue the failed glue, right. Until somebody said, wait a minute, maybe glue that doesn't stick very well is a good thing. That was not glue specialists that came up with that observation.
Right.
So with the doghouse, we cast the right 9 people and a certified facilitator, and then they go through a process that's entirely online, which again is about 5% synchronous and 95% asynchronous, and it's all in a secure Cisco-powered environment. Mm-hmm. So it's very secure. It's also transparent, and by transparent, I mean the only people who have access to it are the 9 FIDO people and the facilitator, but also the client sponsor, right. has visibility to it 24/7.
But let's talk about that. The client sponsor is actually not in the group, right? That's one of the critical things. Correct. They're at arm's length. Correct.
They're at arm's length. They're very intimately involved in getting to the right audacious challenge and success criteria. Mm-hmm. And then they have full visibility over the selection of the dogs, and then they watch the process. And it's really interesting. Some of them we bring in a controlled fashion into the doghouse process, and they can go in any time of the day or night over the course of the 5-week process and see how the thinking is progressing through the process. And then at the end, what pops out as reliable as clockwork at the end of the 5 weeks is a cohesive, actionable breakthrough solution to the audacious challenge.
Interesting. And before we go, we're going to do a part 2 on this. We'll talk about some of your specific case studies, which I think will be fun. But talk a little bit about your apps. Where are you going in terms of your platform? You're adding some more ideas beyond the doghouse, right?
We are, and what we've done that we're excited about now is one of our clients said, look, the doghouse is great as kind of a strategic nuke for big, high-value, complex problems that we have. But she said, look, I've got 5,000 people around the world who are trying to solve problems on a day-to-day basis. Half of those problems we can train them to solve well. But the other half, we can't. And what they're doing is they're improvising the solutions by calling friends, right. or by Googling. Right. And what can you do? What can you do to help us to elevate our enterprise innovation quotient and give us more reliability and discipline around that? So what we've done is we've developed a web-based solution which is called the Innovation Operating System, or the FIDO iOS. Mm-hmm. And that is described as iTunes for innovation. So it looks and behaves like iTunes or an iPhone. So it creates and serves up in app-like form sources, tools, and sources of inspiration and other resources that are customized to the enterprise innovation objectives of that sponsoring company. And in
Interesting.
some cases, they want different apps served to different divisions within the company or
Mm-hmm.
different geographies. But what it does is it puts at the fingertips of all of their people around the world tools and resources that enable them to innovate with more confidence and more success. And it's all measurable. So, like with a learning management system, there are the features and functionalities in place to be able to determine who's using what and also do prescriptive modeling of behavior, where they can say, well, Peter is a star performer. He's using it in these ways, but John is a laggard. So, how can we help John to adapt more of the behaviors of Peter and then see how that impacts on our innovation success?
Right. Okay, cool. Well, it sounds great, and I think both the Doghouse, your main product, and these other ones, I can see how they could really play in the hands of people who are ready to solve their big issues. So let's wrap it up here. We'll do a part two. So for 10 Minute Strategy, this is Peter Propp. Thanks to John Englehart from FIDO for joining us.
Thank you, Peter.